Hello, my name is Nikolai, your narrator for today. We will be talking about the bombing of Dresden in World War II. In World War II, there was a bombing that occurred in Germany on February 13th through the 15th in 1945. The bombing was called the Bombing of Dresden, which occurred in the city of Dresden. Wow, that's a very well thought out name. So Dresden was given the nickname the Florence of Elbe, which means person living in a forest or floodplain, and was also known for being one of the most beautiful cities in the world during its time because of its museums and architecture. It had minimal contribution to Hitler's war effort, so there was seemingly no reason to attack it. Refugees from the east went to Dresden since they were getting away from the Red Army. So there were more civilians than usual that were staying there at the time. Now, for all of Germany, it was not looking good at all for them. In the west, Hitler's counteroffensive in the Ardennes forest in Belgium totally failed. The Red Army was getting closer to the capital, Berlin. Hitler's Luftwaffe air fleet was now not how it once was, and Germany was being bombed daily. Go.
I am your next narrator, Evangeline. So, what happened exactly during the bombing? Two waves of Royal Air Force bombers hit the city in two waves, and the city's defenses were so weak that they only lost 6 bombers in total. 1,400 tons of high explosive bombs were dropped. More than 1,100 tons of incendiaries were also dropped. As survivors started coming out of their hiding spots, 300 U.S. bombers began raining down on the city, hitting bridges, railways, and transportation facilities. Then another 200 started bombing the city's infrastructure. In total, the U.S. dropped 950 tons of high explosive bombs and 290 tons of incendiaries on Dresden. These kind of bombings were called saturation or area bombings. It's when an area bombing all the enemy industries and civilian parts of cities are taken with it. Allies believed that doing so it would ravage German economy and force them to make an early surrender. The problem with this is that they mainly bombed the cities that was fueling the war effort for Germany. So the reason why the bombing of Dresden became famous was for the fact that there was no reason to bomb it.
The story. So, to this day, which is 73 years later, Dresden still remains a controversial topic because of the seemingly unjust reason of it. And some of the buildings were restored, but those that weren't were replaced with plain. So many people say that it was unnecessary to bomb Dresden because only the people suffered and that it didn't actually help stop the war because of the way Hitler was, because of his mindset. It was not fair the, to take so many innocent people's lives for something that they had no control over. Also, Americans are said to not have clearly justified their actions for the bombing. So Americans made the excuse that we were at war at the time, and that they did actually target specific industries that were actually helping the war effort for Hitler. But researchers found out that the industries that they talked about were not actually specifically targeted. Go. 70 years later, Dresden still remains a controversial topic. Seeming because God damn it. From the Hello, my name is Nikolai, your narrator for the day, and today we will be talking about. We will. What? Stop! What was that? Hello. Go. Go.
I am your next narrator, Evangeline. So what exactly happened during the bombing? 2 waves of Royal Air Force bombers hit the city in 2 waves, and the city's defenses were so weak that only they...
Stop. You're way too fast.
Way too fast, and you use...
The aftermath of the bombing. After the war, investigators estimated that 8,000 to 200,000 were killed. Victor Gregg was a British paratrooper that was a prisoner of war in Dresden, was given the order to help it clear up. He went into 1,000-person air raid shelters and found no one alive or even a body.
Okay, Nikolai is back to conclude this story. So, to this day, which is 73 years later, Dresden remains controversial. Oh my god, damn it!